So we're going to demonstrate exact words.
Yes.
And there was something that you were working on before, which we were using for the aspect game.
Yes.
And you felt like you processed it all, so it's just a good way to demonstrate how a practitioner uses exact words.
Okay.
So if you just start tapping, and just tell me a little bit about that.
I was driving from Berwick to Cranbourne, and I remember the exact where the circle was, and I got a phone call from my sister back in South Africa, my sister-in-law.
Okay, so just stop there and we'll tap on that.
Okay.
Even though I remember driving from Berwick, and I remember the exact circle when I got a call from my sister-in-law
actually.
In South Africa.
In South Africa, yeah.
I accept myself
and
everything I feel.
Even though I remember
being in the car,
driving
from Berwick, I remember the exact circle when I had a call from my sister-in-law in South Africa. I accept myself and everything I feel. Even though I remember driving in the car, coming back from Berwick, I remember the exact circle when I got that call from my sister-in-law in South Africa. I accept myself and everything I feel. I was in the car driving back from Berwick. I remember the exact circle when I got that phone call from my sister-in-law in South Africa. I remember how I feel when I heard her voice when I was in the car coming back from Berwick. I remember the exact circle when I heard my sister-in-law's voice on the phone in the car. That exact circle when I heard her voice on the phone coming back from Berwick. Okay, so I didn't even get a thing, but it was to show my exact words. Because she said a lot, I wanted to get those exact words out straight away before I forget them. But see how I got basically those exact words? And it's helping her to tune into it straight away. So just tapping here. So you're in the car on the way back from Berwick. You remember the exact circle when your sister-in-law called. Do you remember the tone of her voice?
She was very apologetic.
Yeah.
And she explained that our dog had died.
Okay.
And she was sorry.
Alright, so straight away you can hear the tone of her voice. She's very apologetic. And she said, I'm sorry. But your dog has died. Where do you feel that in your body?
Here. I feel it here in my...
So you call that
chest?
Upper chest?
Yeah.
And what's the emotion?
Sadness.
Out of 10?
Now it's a 7.
Even though I remember that exact circle coming back from Berwick when my sister-in-law rang from South Africa, I can still hear the tone of her voice. She was very apologetic. When she said, I'm sorry. But your dog has died. And I feel that sadness in my upper chest. I accept myself. And how I feel. Even though I've still got this 7 out of 10 sadness.
Even though I still have the 7 out of 10 sadness.
Jenny snuck it up on me
She
again.
did. Jenny snuck it up on me again. That's supposed to make me feel better.
It's still 7 out of 10 sadness.
It's still 7 out of 10,
in my upper chest. When I think about the sound of her voice. Being apologetic. Saying I'm sorry. But your dog has died. I accept myself and how I feel. Even though I've still got this 7 out of 10 sadness.
No, it's not. It's lower.
Even though I've still got this sadness.
I've got this sadness.
In my upper chest.
And it's coming down.
When I remember her apologetic voice. Saying sorry. Your dog has died.
Your dog has died.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And how I feel.
And how I feel.
I was coming back from Berwick.
I was coming back from Berwick.
I remember the exact circle,
yes.
roundabout.
I remember, yeah, we call it a circle.
A circle.
I remember the exact circle.
So see how when I said roundabout,
yeah, no, it's
it threw off, and she said we call it circle. So you've got to get the exact words right. I remember the exact circle.
I remember the exact circle.
I remember the sound of her voice.
I remember the sound of her voice.
My sister-in-law's voice.
My sister-in-law's voice.
She was very apologetic.
She was very apologetic.
She said, I'm sorry.
She said, I'm sorry.
But your dog has died.
But your dog has died.
And I still have some sadness in my upper chest.
And I still have some sadness in my upper chest.
I still have some sadness in my upper chest.
I still have some sadness in my upper chest.
When I remember my sister-in-law's voice.
When I remember my sister-in-law's voice.
Okay, so deep breath. So see how straight away when I said roundabout, not circle, it threw her off. So it's important then to get the right words because it puts you back in tune. So that sadness when you hear the tone of her voice and how apologetic she is, and when she says those words, I'm sorry your dog has died, it's come down, but what does it come down to, that sadness now?
I think it too, because we have
worked on it.
Yeah.
So it's a 2 and it's more down here where you touched.
Yeah, a little bit here. Yeah.
Is that heart?
No.
Centre of the chest?
No, it's the centre of my chest.
Even though, so did you say where it's come down to, about a 2?
A 2, yeah. I think
even though I've got this remaining 2 out of 10 sadness.
Even though I've got this remaining 2 out of 10 sadness.
In the centre of my chest.
In the centre of my chest.
When I remember my sister-in-law's apologetic voice.
When I remember my sister-in-law's apologetic voice.
Saying sorry, but your
sorry,
dog has died.
But your dog has died.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And my body.
And my body.
And I choose to process and release it.
And I choose to process and to release it.
Even though I've still got this 2 out of 10 sadness.
I still have this 2 out of 10 sadness.
In the centre of my chest.
In the centre of my chest.
When I was at that circle.
When I was at that circle.
And I heard the apologetic tone of my sister-in-law's voice.
And I heard the apologetic tone of my sister-in-law's voice.
Saying, I'm sorry, but your dog has died.
Saying, I'm sorry, but your dog has died.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And how my body's processing
And how my body is processing it. Tears coming out of my wine.
Even though I've still got some sadness.
Even though I've still got some sadness.
2 out of 10.
2 out of 10.
In the centre of my chest.
In the centre of my chest.
I ask my body to process and release this.
I ask my body to process and release it.
My sister-in-law's voice.
My sister-in-law's voice.
She rang from South Africa.
She ran from South Africa.
I remember the circle I was in.
I remember the circle I was driving.
I remember the sound of her apologetic voice.
I remember the sound of her apologetic voice.
I remember her words.
I remember her words.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
But your dog has died.
But your dog has died.
Releasing and letting go.
Releasing and letting go.
Of this remaining sadness.
Of this remaining sadness.
In the centre of my chest.
In the centre of my chest.
Releasing and letting go.
Releasing and letting go.
Of this remaining sadness.
Of the remaining sadness.
In the centre of my chest.
In the centre of my chest.
Cool. So that's just a quick example of using exact words. And see, there was a lot of words that I needed to remember. So it was about getting straight into it. Like you wanted to go on with the story. I said, stop there. Let's tap.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's important that you're getting the words right as well. And the more that you practice this, the more that you are able to remember because you're there with them. And you remember what's going on. To reflect it back, reflect it back, reflect it back. But the main thing was the tone of the voice and those words she said. And I remember the exact circle where I was. And I kept saying, oh, I'm coming back from Berwick. So I kept putting you in the memory, in the flow of the memory.
Good. Yeah, thanks.
Excellent. Well done. Thank